Hi, I'm Kelly. So today I'm going to teach you how to use Photoshop to remove people from the background of your photo. It's pretty easy, but if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Let's get started. First thing is open your photo. And I like to start on a new layer so that it's really easy to remove or make changes. If you're not familiar with layers, it's basically separating your new changes from the background so that you can always turn it off, edit it, or change it. You're not making changes on the actual photo. So now that you have your new layer, make sure it's selected. And I like to start with this spot healing brush tool. Looks like a little band-aid. So if you click on that, that's Photoshop's kind of built-in tool to remove things in the background. So what I would do is zoom in. I'm going to start with these flags. And all you have to do is and Photoshop just kind of quickly takes whatever's around it and then removes the object. The type is content aware up here, so you can kind of play around with these different options, but content aware is typically the one that I would use. And then also make sure that sample all layers is checked off so that it pulls from the background layer below. So yeah, that was pretty easy, so we'll keep doing that. So that worked pretty well, but this one definitely needs a little extra help. We can come back to that. I'm going to just quickly take out each person. And then keep in mind, it really depends on your photo as well. This is an easy photo to do it with because we have a lot of blurred, simple textures that we can use to cover things up. So we have the sky, the sand. If you have a photo that has a more intricate, detailed background, it might be a little trickier to remove people. So there's a lot of people on this side, so it's going to be a little harder to actually take them out. So yeah, we'll have to do a lot of work on that, but we'll come back to it. And then I'm going to get up close, but I'm going to probably have to do that separately. So there, that's my starting point. And then here's what I'm saying about the layers is if you turn this layer off, all the people are still there in the background layer. So if you mess anything up or want to reverse what you did, it's really easy to do. So I might even make another layer on top of this. And now I want to go into the clone stamp tool. It looks like a little stamp, and you click on that. Make sure your sample is the current and below layer because again, we want to pick up what's in that background layer. And this is all the settings for your brush. So I want a brush that has like a little bit of softness. So I'm going to keep the hardness low and then probably a little bigger than 25. You can also use keyboard shortcuts. The brackets make your brush bigger and smaller. And then another little trick for changing opacity, if you type in the numbers, that's a shortcut for opacity. So if I type in the number 2, the opacity changes to 20. If I type in 6, the opacity changes to 60. And then I like to keep this aligned checked so that your sample kind of moves with your brush as you're brushing. So the first thing when we use the clone stamp tool, hold down Option and you'll see this little target, and that shows you, where you're going to be pulling from. So let's start with this sky piece. We want to cover this up. I need to pull somewhere from the sky, so I'll click right here. And then you move the brush over to what you want to cover, and you'll see a little preview. So that looks pretty good. I'll start brushing over that. That already looks a lot better. And then same with here, I'm going to smooth out this part. I like to use lines to kind of keep keep things lined up. So I'm going to click this line as my option target, and then kind of hold it over and make sure it's lined up here, and then I can cover up these little spots. So that's looking pretty good. And one of the problems I see a lot when people use the clone stamp tool or cover things up is our eye really reacts to patterns and notices patterns. So you just kind of want to break up any patterns you see. Like right here I see two kind of identical little shape. So I'm just going to kind of cover up one and to mix it up a little bit. And then right here with the mountain is going to be a little trickier. So I normally just find an area like this. I like this like downward slant. We'll probably use that right here. So I'll click that line again to have a good lineup point. And then start painting over this. And then kind of just paint until you can kind of blend it in with the background part of the layer. That's looking pretty good. And then I'll zoom out to kind of check the progress. And that looks pretty good. So another thing I like to do is put all my adjustment layers into a folder, and then you can kind of quickly see the changes you've made so far. So now let's go to fixing this side. You can always use the spot healing brush again if you want to click, some of these spots and try to clean those up before you do it manually with the clone stamp tool. Now I'm going back to the clone stamp tool, and this water looks like a good place to pull from. So I'm again pressing Option, clicking this line, and then painting it in right here where I want to cover it up. And then same here. So this is something we want to watch out for. My targeted point was actually the edge of the canvas, so it started making a line here, and we don't want that. So you can press Command Z, or I'm going to undo that part, make it look a little more natural. So this last little tricky bit's going to be blending this into her arm, because we don't want to make this edge too soft. So you might want to go back and make your brush a little harder for this part. And then just paint right up to the edge. And then I'm going to make my brush softer again and kind of blend in these final few areas. So now's a good time to zoom out and see if there's any areas that look weird. So this is kind of what I was talking about with the patterns. You start to see some patterns right here and over here, and then some stuff going on here. So turning your brush to a lower opacity and then just adding a little more color and detail to kind of mix up these sections is always good. Straighten out any lines. Another thing you can do, I'll make one more layer, is if you just go into your normal brush tool, make this a lot smaller, and you can actually put option of the shortcut for this as well, but use the eyedropper tool to pick up one of these colors. You can use just that solid color and paint it over, kind of blend things in. So I would maybe still keep working on this a little bit. The sand line is a little jagged, but when you zoom out, it's actually starting to look really good. Once the picture is smaller, the background just kind of blends together, and there you have it. So I would actually probably keep working on this a little more. You can see that there's still a little bit of a jagged edge on the sand, but when you zoom out, it actually looks pretty good. And there you have it. Here's our final product, and then compare it to the original, all the people, and they're gone. Now you can save this picture. And thanks for watching. I hope that was helpful. Let me know what else you want to learn, and I'll see you next time.